Coming at me, yo. It was coming at me, yo.
You attacked the shit out of him.
The guy was coming at me crazy.
What?
Wait, take I was taking a picture right now.
Matty.
Maybach music.
Can anybody out there hear me? Hear me? 'Cause I just wanna...
On this team, we fight for that itch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that itch.
Coming in at 320 kilobytes per second, it's time for MattieC Sports for you and me.
What the fuck is up? They ain't touching me for nothing. Gang shit is not my business. I ain't not the one to fuck with.
All right, everybody. This is MattieC Sports for you and me, and here is my boy Phil Bambino Locigno. How you doing this afternoon, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic, my brother. How are you doing this fine afternoon?
I'm good. I should be outside. I feel like everybody should be, but you just got to be lazy sometimes.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that. I mean, in my case, I had a very important obligation to do, so outside can wait for now.
Agreed. So, Phil, man, you had a great performance your last fight. I mean, you fought Nick Roman and you knocked him out in the first round. And I know you say that was kind of like a tune-up that you needed. How did you feel going in and out of the fight?
I felt great. You know, every fight camp, I try to have a new goal in mind on what I'm going to work on, what I'm getting better at, because I'm still a little bit new in the sport. I've only been competing for almost 2 years now. Ever since my first bout, which was November 2021, just hit the ground running, and I just look to get better every time. And even though I wouldn't say it was a tune-up fight for me, it was just something, because it's the amateur ranks, so it doesn't matter. It's just all about experience. So I looked at him as a challenge because he definitely had a size advantage on me, being 6 feet, having a 77-inch reach, which is 11 inches to me. So I had a game plan going into that, and I executed it perfectly.
Well, to be honest with you, man, which I respect about you is when I started in Cage Titans at Cage Titans 50, that was actually the first time you started at Cage Titans. So yeah, it's been good to see your progression for sure. And one of the best things that was when I was talking to you when you lost to Danny Jefferson is me and you talked like before you went upstairs, and I said, Phil, you're a tough motherfucker, and you're like, thanks, and like we were chopping up just a little bit, and you were like, you know, don't worry, you'll see me in that room soon, and finally came to fruition. So I'm glad you won, just because, you know, they say to be biased, but like for me, it's like there's certain fighters that I respect that give me the same respect back, where it's like some of them are like, oh, well, I got this on me, but most of the fighters aren't that particular way. And I appreciated how you showed me respect for that long. So thank you for that.
Of course, I feel like in this community, especially MMA, we have to support one another. We shouldn't have to put someone down to lift ourselves up, because that's just whack. And just like my personality, I want to see everyone succeed, you know, even people that I've fought in the past, people that I might fight in the future. I want us all to succeed, because life's short. You know, why do I have to have someone beneath me in order to rise? No, because I feel like whatever walk of life is, if you get better, then I get better.
And my thing is the same way. I had somebody come up to me and go, hey, I respect your show. It was actually at the last Cage Titans. And he said, you know, I really respect your show. And then we were talking about it, and, you know, they're like, yo, I was going to interview this guy. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm interviewing him in a couple days. And he's like, well, you know, like, oh, I was going to do that. Like, oh, I'm like jealous. I'm like, bro, this is a community. Like, we don't need to have beef with this organization or that. Like, we're here to have fun, bro. Like, and that's what I respect about the fighters. You can chop it up with them before the fight, and then, like, you know, not when they're throwing the mitts about to go in there, but I mean, you know what I'm saying. But man, I have to say, City of Tong came into work last card. And there is something funny about that. So I talked to Aaron yesterday, Trissell, and he said to me about so we were talking about his hair because he had his hair in cornrows. And I said, bro, what happened to your hair? And then it was funny because he was saying about you, and you said, bro, you got to let that grow out. Like,
Afro, when Aaron's in Afro mode, that's when he's ready to kill. I always say, I was like, oh, Aaron's ready. He's ready to go now. So.
It was great because he told me the true story behind it, and I was like, dude, you look like one of those like 70s style like badass people that are like fighting crime or like doing what you need to do, like to mess people up and shit. And I was like, this guy is a force, and he had a good fight. You had a good fight. Definitely Pete had a good fight. It was just like it shows your true skills. All you guys are killers in there. And
we feed off each other.
It seems like it. And I mean, like, even at weigh-ins when I saw you guys, I was hearing Pete like, go Phil, and like everybody was like saying your name. They were going with Neil, they were going with Aaron, and like all you guys are like a tight-knit family. So like, does it feel that way in the gym there?
Oh, 100%. It's not the biggest gym. It's not like, a super gym, but the collective guys that we have, we are all killers, and we all push each other every time we're in a sparring session, drilling. It's just it's friendly competition, but because we have that type of vibe where it's competition and we're all family, everyone progresses. Like if you watch my first fight up until now, I'm a completely different fighter. If you watch Neil and his first fight, so on and so forth, all the guys in Sit Your Tongue, we're just constantly getting better. And what we try to strive for is we want to be that gym that everyone wants to come to now. Like, oh, you see the Sit Your Tongue guys? Yeah, we need to step our game. Why don't we go over there and get some work from them? So, yeah, if anyone wants to get better, we're open arms to anybody. We're not one of those gyms that just, push people away or gym bullies and like that. We want to progress, and we want to see other people progress because that's competition. That's how we all get better.
Another funny thing with Aaron yesterday was he was saying because I was saying after his interview at Cage Titans, and I was saying, you guys are just all killers in there, and the coaches were all around him, and they were like crickets, bro. And I said that to him yesterday, and he's like, yeah, we're trying to keep that a secret, so like try to keep it on the low.
Yeah, I think the secret's out now, especially since the last Cage Titans card, and it's so
oh yeah. And I was so happy to see so many of you guys on the card. I was like, holy crap, they're putting their arsenal out right now. Like everybody is in here right now. And it was amazing to see. And I mean, what fights did you get to catch?
To be honest with you, I really didn't get to catch a lot because Neil fought before me, and he was 2 fights before me. So I was like kind of in the middle of my womp. I'd glance at the TV, and every time I was glancing, he was winning those exchanges. So I thought he would have got that decision. In my own opinion, maybe it's biased because he's my teammate. But if we go by
quick
damage,
as shit.
Dude, he's lightning. I call him Electric Neil because he's like that electric eel. So I call him Electric Neil. He is so goddamn fast. And for a kid that fights at 125, when me and him spar, like I like to show him because I know people are gonna try to take him down because he's just too quick on the feet. He is not easy to keep down. I'm telling you. He was probably harder to keep down than my last opponent. No disrespect to him. Like that's how good he is. But to finish the question that you answered, and then after my fight, obviously I went to the crowd to say what's up to family and friends, and then after that, I just went and enjoyed a nice burger that I've been working hard to get, and then I went home and I actually was watching a fight companion on the New England podcast. They did a fight companion where they were, going over the fights and watching it. So I was watching that as I was hanging with family. Yes. Because after the fights, I just like to unwind because when I'm in that mode, I really don't see my family. I'm alone. I like to get into that mode. So as soon as the fight's over, I go eat with the teammates, family, friends, and go home and enjoy my family.
I respect that, man. I really do. That was a long fucking day, man. I did the day and night card.
Yeah, God bless you guys. The media outlets that had to, work just as hard as the fighters. So all respect to you guys because you guys work just as hard as us. If not, probably harder. So kudos to you and thank you for doing that for us.
Well,
Appreciate
well,
that.
well. Like you said, it's a family in itself. Like, I can't physically have a beef with a fighter because I don't know what you've been through. I don't know what's been going on and all that stuff. I respect fighters because they come up to me and say, "Hey, we appreciate your show," just like yourself. So, respect to that. I know we were talking about, and we couldn't talk for too long, but when we were talking about you may go pro or you might stay a little bit in the Amis, like what are you thinking now?
I'm 100% going to go pro in the near future, but to map out the rest of the year, I would like to get on the next Cage Titans card and do a catch weight at 140 because, excuse me, this is the second time without even trying that I came in underweight at 144.4. So I know 140 is right there. All this is just maybe another 45 minutes in the hot tub with some Epsom salt, or maybe another 15 minutes in the sauna. Easy money. Plus my diet's on point, so I'm never far away. So I want to do a catch weight at 140 in May, and then hopefully if I do get to have that opportunity to have that, come out unscathed free with another victory, no injuries, and then I want to do a July at 135 to really, push myself and test myself to get that. Because my size, if I'm like an average, maybe smaller 45, but I know if I go to 35, I'd be a big 35er, and I could really do some damage there, I feel like. So, and then after July, hopefully the September Cage Titans card, that's when your boy can make his pro debut, if everything goes perfect, which I plan on it having to be.
And did you say you're going to go on the May 22nd card?
Nothing definite. I'm definitely going to throw my name in the hat for the May 27th Cage Titans card.
Cool.
I just want to stay as active as possible because that's honestly how you get better, in my opinion. You can spar as much as you want. You can go to practice as much as you want, but nothing will ever replicate the actual competition of getting your hands wrapped, warming up, the anxiety of that walkout, having the fans yell and scream, whether it's negative or positive, actually walking into the cage and seeing your opponent, knowing he's trying to do as much damage as he can to you. So I want to get in there as much as I can before I do turn pro. And my next fight will be my 6th amateur fight. So, I'm gaining quite the experience pretty fast, and I feel like my skill is really progressing fast as well.
And, I feel like the amateur progression, if guys stay with Cage Titans, such as Valdina, Trevor Goody, Joe Giannetti, like Peter Barrett, all these guys have had excellent stuff in the cage. And the guys who have stuck in the cage at Cage Titans. So, like, do you feel like you want to be one of those guys who, I wouldn't say a loyalty to Cage Titans, but like just as much, like, because it's such a tight-knit, awesome community. They're like, oh, here comes Phil. He's back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like for me, it's like a home too. Like, that's my home field advantage. Like, and no disrespect to CES, but it's literally not the same thing as going to a Cage Titans event.
No, to answer your question, that's the plan, is to be a Cage Titans guy, because in my opinion, I'm not going to say any names, but I've been to other regional events, and it's just like not the same atmosphere as the way that Cage Titan does it. The way they have the stadium seating, the walkout, like that walkout is long, and it's just like almost like that UFC
it's
pro
excellent.
walkout. That's a long walk. That's a long time to think about what could go wrong or what could go right. And I feel like, in my own biased opinion, the way that Cage Titans, not just the pros, but just as the amateurs, they show everybody love. Even if it's your first time getting in there and this is your only time getting in there, they'll pump you up. They'll make sure everybody gets their shine. They're not there to put no one down. Unlike, like I said, not to put anyone down. You go to other promotions, and they kind of just have like that one guy they want to pump up, and that's really it. And then the way guy, you don't know anything about him. And even in the amateur ranks, sometimes, they don't even get love at all. It's just like, they're just there to, fill up the time until the pros get there. And in my opinion, that kind of that kind of steals away from the amateurs because a lot of us do have the aspiration of going pro and going to that big stage. So we want to get the full experience, and no one does it like Cage Titans.
I know, and they literally, you're right, they do put everybody on blast, and like, you know, the guys have cool, like, you're waiting for the next fighter to see what they're gonna do on their walkout or like whatever. Like, you know, Valdina does a cartwheel, and that kid Will Asia did a split one time, and then I didn't see your walkout this time. What was your walkout this time?
My walkout song, is that what you said?
Both. Like, what did you do with your, like, in your walk?
Yeah, so my usual walkout, like, I'll just come out with my hands up, like, what's up? Like, I'm here. But this time, I just wanted to go in there and just, you know, just destroy. That was always on my mind, was just dominate. So I went in there with a cold, dead stare. And my walkout song, and I think this might be my walkout song for all my fights because it really had me in that mode walking down there. You ever seen the movie The Last Mohicans?
I have not.
I actually haven't either, but I heard the intro to that movie, and that walkout was sick. That song is sick. I love it. It's like bagpipes, real slow. Kind of sounds like Viking, like battle music. And even though I'm Italian, I might have some Viking in, but every time I hear that, it just like puts me in like a killer mode, like I'm ready to go. So yeah, that was I made it real simple. Get to the point. I want to go in the cage, get in, get out, dominate, win, and get to chop up my boy MattieC.
Appreciate it, bro. And it's awesome because it's like everybody has their own like theme. Like, you know, like Pete's always like got the hype song, or like the song before was like a Big B song. I was like, oh, I know that song. And then like you got Valdino with the Jim Croce song that has been his song every single solitary fight. So it's cool to see the new styles of people, and that's what's unique about Cage Titans. But I mean, damn, if you were gonna fall down the stairs, that would suck. Like,
yeah, that's funny you said that because the kid Nick asked me, like, how would you feel about coming out from the side? You know, like with the stages, that little corner where we go like to do the medicals. He asked me, how would you feel about if they had the blue corner come out that end and the red corner come out the other end? I was like, honestly, I would love that, because that's probably one of my biggest anxieties is if I tripped and busted my ass on those goddamn stairs. And the walk would be a little bit shorter. And I think it'd be cool to have, like, you know, this side blue, that side red, and we enter the cage that way. Plus, we'd be able to really, you know, be into the crowd. But I mean, whatever they want to do. But I was with that idea. They were just trying to get a feel of what the fighters want to do, because, and that's another thing about Cage Titans, they're always trying to evolve. Like, their social media game is far from none. Especially like other promotions, they only got like a couple thousand followers. Like, you know, I think Cage Titans is like over 20,000 followers, which is not far behind like an LFA or CFFC. So we're making some noise out here in the Northeast.
yeah, I mean, it's funny because I've talked nationally with different fighters, and, you know, like you said, they fought LFA, which I found out, I'm not going to say who fought somebody from Cage Titans and beat them. And then, like, you know, you got B2 where those Alabama homies from SBG came up and they started.
Yeah, my boy
around. Well, Pofu's the man. The African assassin. And Arthur, if you see the show, you still owe me like 5 T-shirts, some other shit. But yeah, I mean, there's so many outfits out there, man. Like, it's not just UFC. People need to realize, go to these local shows. Go to Cage Titans. Go to LFA. Go to actually Johnny Campbell just fought on Cage Warriors. Huge
Yeah,
organization.
on what, 3 days notice? And
on 3 days notice.
Of a war on with a UFC vet guy. So yeah, we got some killers over here and a lot of regional dudes there.
That's what I love about New England. There is so many killers, and there's guys begging to fight up here, and it's amazing. And man, like I said, you're always the one consistent guy that I enjoy going to see fight, and it's cool to see you fight. And I'll tell you something after about a certain fighter got mad at me about a certain incident with with not this cage fight, but 2 cage fights ago. But besides that, every fighter has been completely nice to me. And I've sponsored two fighters in the past 2 cards. Both of them, one even respects my daughter, who's 4 years old, always gets a shirt for and I'm the sponsor on it. And then another fighter who I've respected since he started. So that's what I like about this. And their opponent didn't give me any beef or anything, but they respect me because of being media, and that's what I like about Cage Titans. There's no enemies really.
I think all fighters should respect all media, in my opinion, because we need each other. I need you because I need to get my name out there. Also, likewise for yourself. So I think it's just like a one hand watch the other relationship. So that's kind of whack, and I'm sorry that had to happen, but that's one thing you'll never see from me. Even if a certain media outlet isn't backing me, I'll always show them respect, because at the end of the day, they're human beings. They got to feed their family. They have personal things they have to do, but yet they still, come out of the way to get this done, just like how a fighter does. So, yeah, that's, like I said, that's how it should be. But unfortunately, not everyone thinks like the Bambino.
So I think from Cage 53 on, we've been like, all right, we're going to have an interview. We're going to have an interview.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then the shit went down today, bro. But, what's your goal for, how many fights do you want to try to get in this year? I know you said as much as you can, but idealistically, how many you thinking? Because your boy Aaron told me 6, and I was like, holy shit, bro. He's like, if I could fight any month, I would.
I mean, it all depends on, if you're injury free, which gratefully so. My diet's on point. My training is up to par. My recovery is up to par. So as much as I can. So like I said, I would definitely want to have 2 more amateur fights, then have my pro debut in September. And from then on, I really don't know. But that's my main goal. I want to have 3 more. And then, we'll see from there. But just as many as I can, because I know I started the sport, unfortunately, late, but yet grateful to even start it. So I want to get as much time as I can before it's all said and done.
And, is there anybody in particular you're ready to go against, or you're just ready for anybody?
As far as the amateurs, I don't think it's necessary to call anybody out. We're all either going to fight eventually or not, whether it's now as the amateur or later on the pros. So I'm actually saving those call-outs for when they matter. Once I'm pro and I got a nice record going up and, there's big money on the line, then that's when you'll really see me being a little bit more vocal. But right now as an amateur, I'm just humbled to keep getting the experience and knowledge and just keep putting on shows.
And my final question to you is, besides you, who else in Sitatong do you think you can? Who's the toughest to spar in your gym?
Pro or amateur?
Either or.
Pro Pete, 100%. I don't know if you saw my last interview when I did with Cage Titans before my fight. I had 2 black eyes, and he was the reason for them. So thank you for that, Pete, for pushing me and always making me better. And as amateur, that's a tough one because it's weird because there's not really many kids my size, so I have to either spar people bigger than me or a lot smaller than me. But I will say a kid that is a sleeper, he's only had 1 MMA fight, but he is going to go far, is Matt Martinez. That boy is lightning fast. I think you probably saw him fight I forget the kid's name. He actually just fought the last case time. Carlos, his last name begins with V.
Was it Valentinez?
Something like that. He fought Botniak's new student.
Yeah, Carlos. He was the one that had the controversy, right? With the card.
Yeah. He was talking crazy at the weigh-in. I mean, hey, I give it to him. You gotta be exciting in some way. But Matt had his debut against him, And Matt's really a 25er, but he fought at 35 just to get his feet wet, and he put on a hell of a performance. So be ready to watch him at the 125 scene in the amateur ranks MMA. He's going to make some noise.
Well, I look forward to that, man. And I think that was I'm actually going to talk about that real quick. I think that was kind of sad about, blaming like the card with referees and stuff like that and judges. And then they had to have a show about it and stuff, like, I know it's frustrating. The kid Vespiano or whatever.
Oh, Carlos.
Yeah. Carlos.
Oh, yeah. When he fought, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, and they had to reverse that decision.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that. I'd go back and watch my Kasky fight, a Danny Wahlberger fight. I'd make a good case for myself, but it is what it is.
Well, that's how I felt. And then some media got it blown out of proportion. And it's like, bro, like, you guys aren't in that fucking cage. You guys aren't judge or a referee. Like, you go fucking do it if you really want to. That's how I felt about it. But others have their opinions, and I'm glad Mike, had a show about it, how judging works, how referee works. So,
and that speaks volumes about his character as a promoter, as an ex-fighter. He just gets it. And the fact that he went out of his way to explain, which he doesn't have to do. He hasn't explained to no one about that decision or have the referee explain his view. You know what I wish would do that is the UFC, especially last night of a couple of those scorecards.
I knew that was coming.
I'd love to hear those referees explain why they gave certain rounds to certain people like that, especially in that stage.
What about Patty's fight? I don't think he won that.
Jared Gordon?
Yeah.
Dude, Jared Gordon's left hook couldn't miss if he tried. I honestly thought Jared Gordon won. It's just so crazy with the scoring criteria. I really do feel like we need to change the whole 10-9 must system because there's so much more going on than just punches. That's boxing. That's an old way of scoring. This is mixed martial arts. I don't have the answer, but I know that has to change. And, you got things like, oh, he had more damage, but he had more control. He was kicking. He was doing this. He was pushing him backwards. At the end of the day, you should just look at the guy and say, which one would you rather be? The one with no marks on his face or the one with marks on his face? That's my biased opinion.
And, it's like when Leon Edwards said the other day, and I totally agree, there's some sort of favoritism with certain fighters. Like Patty Burton draws a crowd. I understand that. But just because he draws a crowd doesn't mean he wins a fucking fight. That's like if you said Jake Paul is a crowd pleaser, and he lost against Tommy Fury. So it's like, have the guy fucking lose. And what's the worst thing? If he keeps losing, he goes to Cage Warriors, right back where he started.
I think, in my opinion, sometimes losing is the best thing that happens to a fighter. I mean, the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali, he ain't undefeated. He's got losses on his record. Mike Tyson, he's got losses on his record. A lot of these people that don't have losses on their record, like, I hate to say, like, the whole, like, they build them up. But, I feel as a true champion and a true fighter, you do need to experience those adversities because now it's how are you going to come back? Your confidence is a little shaken up. You still believe in yourself. You still got that drive. And if you continue to do that, that's what makes you a true champion. That's what makes you a real fighter, in my opinion. So in my journey, I'm grateful for those close losses because it really challenged my heart to say, how bad do I really want this? Yeah, those first two fights, they could have gone my way, and they didn't, regretfully so. But what did I learn from it? I learned what I'm made of. I learned that I'm resilient. I learned how not to let it in the judge's hands like that. So that's what I told in my last fight. If I have an opportunity to finish you, I'm going to finish you 100%. And it's nothing personal. Obviously, I'm there to hurt you, but then after, we can laugh, shake hands, and be friends. But as far as we step in that cage, it's all business.
I absolutely. And this is the best thing I've heard from somebody is they like Mayweather, but they don't in the sense of he ruined it in the combat sports sense because he didn't fucking lose. So now everybody has to be 33-0, 0. And then it's like, well, we don't want him to take his O. So if it goes to the judges, Here you go. Like,
I mean, but not to take anything away from him, he really was one of the greatest of his time. But I feel like at the end of his career, that's when he was more focused on more money than legacy. Like he's doing exhibition fights. And let me ask you something. Did you know that Sergio Martinez just fought the other day?
yes, he fought. Did he fight on Showtime?
No, I think I don't know what platform or what promotion, but I saw on his, because I follow him on Instagram, he's still fighting. And he's reaching 50 years old, but he's not doing exhibition bouts. He's fighting real up-and-coming guys from Argentina, which, as an older fighter, when you fight these young, hungry guys that are trying to put your name on their record as a W to build themselves up, and you're going in and taking that challenge at 50-something years old with 2 busted knees, he ain't getting no shine like that, but he'll always have my respect. He'll always have real fight respect. But unfortunately, that's the name of the game. People just want to, blow up, have that pretty record, which in some cases you do need to have, but in other cases you do need to be tested at one point or another. And it's for MMA, we do it in the amateurs.
Yeah, and it's not like boxing amateurs where it's like kind of you're going to either nationals, regionals, or worlds. It's more along the lines of there's eyes on you on TV, on everything. Like the spectator sports, I think they do a great job. Like they're really good at what they do. They even show the punches landed and the throws landed. Sorry, I didn't order it because I'm there, but
and I feel like for amateur MMA, we have the closest experience to the professional scene, unlike, the boxing amateur scene, which I love amateur boxing. I really do. But as an amateur MMA, the only difference is I can't throw elbows and knees. I don't have headgear on. I got 4-ounce gloves. My shins are bare. So the only difference is the level of competition, and I get 2 more minutes to work, plus I can start throwing these. And I really do feel like once you see me turn pro, that's when you really see me evolve into my game, because now I don't have to think about, I can't throw this, I can't do that. And I have 5 minutes to take my time and to really assess the situation, because 3 minutes, like that's how I feel like I lost my first fight in that Kasky bout. Even though I landed way more significant strikes than him, you can just see, from the tape at the end of the fight, I had no scratches on my face. He's got a busted nose, black eye. But because he took me down and held me down there and I got a couple of ground and pounds, I only got a minute to work now. I got to do something really significant to win that round back.
Right.
But
right.
You do 5 minutes with me, and I get to work, and now I know how to wrestle. I know how to get up. I know how to defend rear naked chokes. It's gonna be a good show. Trust me on that, brother.
Well, Phil, I respect it, and I'm glad you're taking it step by step and not jumping into the pro lines then right away when you feel like you're ready. I respect that, because some people just jump into it thinking they're ready, and their shit comes and shit happens, bro. Like, but if you can fight at amateur and then, it's my fucking turn to say I go pro, and I respect that, man.
Yeah, so, especially with my plan with the weight classes, I'd rather experiment with that in the amateurs. The catch weight at 40, then 35. All right, now I know I can make 35. I'm gonna be a pro 135er, because those dudes at 145 are pretty big. Like, Pete, he's really a 145er, and he's a lot bigger than me. So I'd have to be fighting those type of guys throughout my pro career. So these next 2 fights, if my body adapts, which I know it will, then it's calculated, the whole plan that I have for me.
Pete's fucking knees are like 100 pounds in general, bro, with those fucking knees he had.
Elbows.
Oh my God.
That's the definition of a fighter, that man right there.
That was that was the best Cage Titan fight I've ever seen. And I thought he had that before when he fought Jacob Bone.
Yeah,
he just respected Jacob Bone too.
Yeah, he's just always putting on shows, which it's only a matter of time until he gets called to the big shows, because that's really where he belongs, in my own biased opinion. Because at the end of the day, these big promotions, they want exciting fighters, and he is the definition of exciting fighters. And I think that rubs off on me a little bit, which is why I've had the performance I've had. Aaron Trussell and his right heel, that type of attitude, we just absorb that.
And damn, dude, like I immediately had to hit up Aaron, and I was like, dude, your forearms are like the huge, like I've never seen it before. Like you were like a monster in there, and then you started yelling, and you kind of scared me a little bit.
Yeah. Now imagine having to spar him twice a week.
No, yeah, I'll let you do that.
Yeah, but because I have guys like that to go against, I know there's no 135, 145 that'll ever give me problems like how Aaron does. So I'm very grateful to have people like him in the gym. As far as Pete and the rest of the guys, there's a lot to name. So if I missed anybody, I apologize.
I think you guys got like a 30-person picture somewhere. So that's where you'll find everybody on there.
100%, brother.
Is there any sponsors you want to shout out before we get off of here?
Ironically, I don't have any sponsors, but I feel like I should because I'm handsome and I can fight. But yeah, to be honest with you, I'm not really too focused on the whole sponsorship right now as far as like an amateur, because my day job, I'm in the labor's union.
Good for you, brother.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate that. I'm good. But if anyone wants to, throw some sponsorship, like I'll be more than happy to help someone get their business out there and try to help them grow. But yeah, no sponsors. But if I'm gonna give anyone a shout out, it'd have to be my family and my teammates at the gym, because without them, I'm nothing.
Well, Phil, I appreciate you coming on my show, and you can come on my show whenever you want, bro. It's much appreciated all the time. We finally made it, bro.
Yeah, likewise. It's an honor to finally make this show. Seriously.
Awesome. I really respect that, man, and I can't wait for the next one.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Same to you, man. So, Phil, Bambino, Locigno, sorry.
It's all right. It's all right.
Locigno, everybody. All right, this is MattieC and Phil and Sadie.
Thanks for watching MattieC's Sports for You and Me. Make sure to follow MattieC on MattCameron23 on Twitter, MattieC23 on Instagram, and subscribe to MattieC's Sports for You and Me on YouTube.
What the fuck is up? They ain't touching me for nothing. Gang shit is not my business. I ain't not the one to fuck with. I bring the flow with lyrical stamina, rapping a million miles. One point I'm an animal, then I'm a cannibal, taking my pick and I pounce. Bold and serious, cold amphibious track murderer. A cup I need by no one, so I got my back. Vertebra, the heat is up, extinguisher. I got the track burning up. Don't think to touch 6 feet's enough to get the match to combust. Diamond, strike it, ignite on any given surface solid. Callous, symbols that come from